I'm Peter Haddock and I'm here with Ian from Fireward. Ian, you're one of the key account managers here, and we are with Liebherr and one of the machines for a very big client of yours here. And I wanted you to talk to me a little bit about how it all comes together with the Fireward system. I've been to the factory react on here to see even how these nozzles are made, how the cylinders pressurized and tested. But then the installation is critical, isn't it? Tell me a little bit about the phases and what we're seeing in front of us.
It is. So if we take you back to the basics of the system, when we are protecting a machine like this, we will look at the coverage that is needed by the agents. Once we have that coverage and we know what agents we need to protect this machine, we've then got to find a suitable location that's not going to impede any operation or any routine maintenance for that. And because we've been installing these systems for a long time, we know exactly where to put these systems to complete that job. So as you see here today, we have got a 15 kilogram dual agent system on this LH18, which is 9 kilograms of dry powder.
Right.
That's the important part on this. That gives you the greatest knockdown, which puts the fire out. And then we've got 6 kilograms of wet agent. Now, once we have the walk around the machine, I'll explain the differences and the reason why we use powder and wet agents on these machines.
Fantastic. Now, look, this is a material handler. It's going to be in difficult applications. It has got lots of hydraulic capability. So you mentioned earlier about setting things up. Here, we've got it mounted there. There's lots of vibrations going on here as well. But we've got a lot to look after in a confined space with a tight, compact machine. So that surveying element, initially, that is the critical bit before anything happens, isn't it?
It is. That's the most important part of our business. And that's why you see on different machines, there's smaller cylinders. Some machines there's bigger cylinders. And that's why, because once we do a survey on this and we know which areas we need to cover, which is every critical part of the machine, that's how we know specifically what agents, type and position we need to do.
So this is the big stuff. This is the big install. Then there's a lot of little things that actually matter. So let's go and find out where they are and why they're there and how they work. Come on, it's about time we got off this machine and back down to the ground. Cheers. So we're now at the main engine compartment, and I've seen a few stickers here that says Fireward, do not kink or cut this tube. So this is really important. You talked about 2 cylinders up there, wet and dry agent. This is where it matters. Tell me how this works and why I shouldn't kink or cut that.
Well, this is the interesting part of the system now. So from the 2 cylinders, there's a series of deployment hoses and the pneumatic detection tubing, which we'll come on to in a second. So as you see around, you see all the stickers for the Fireward. That is the pneumatic detection. That's pressurized to 25 bar with nitrogen. Once that feels direct heat or flame, about 180 degrees, that will burst.
Okay.
That then releases the agents and the valves. The agents then come out indirectly through a series of hoses, which you'll see here. So the ones with red caps are the dry powder. You see them here, one across the top, one down that side, one just here. And then the ones with a blue nozzle, which you'll see up here and on the top there, they are the wet agents. Now, how we fit these systems and install it, the dry powder will exit the cylinders within 3-4 seconds.
And that just poof.
But that will give you complete hazard coverage. So anything on this is a complete hazard protection. That powder will go everywhere, engulf the fire, put the fire out instantly.
But why do we then need the wet one?
Well, that's what I'll come on to now. So you see the wet agent nozzles, they are aimed strategically at major heat sources. So the one there is pointed at the turbo or manifold.
Right.
And then the other one is pointed at DPF. So when the machine's running, these things get super hot. If we didn't cool them items down when the system's deployed, you've got massive potential for reignition. So even though the cylinders open simultaneously, the dry powder will exit, like I said, 3-4 seconds it takes to engulf. The wet agent can take anything up to 40-50 seconds to deploy. But that is sprayed at the major heat components which reduces the temperature, which reduces reignition to the system.
So what you're saying there, basically, in layman's terms, is we have a fire. We put it out instantly with the powder. However, because these are so hot, and if the fire is caused by these sort of elements, or they're close to it, then they could start the fire again. But we've already used all the cylinders to put it out.
Correct.
So that is targeted work there. So that's really interesting. Now, come on, folks, you see how tight this is. Liebherr's done a good job on this machine. OEMs like Liebherr are also doing much more compact machines. So positioning these things is, again, about that survey. How do we put it all through? How do we install it? So typically, how long would it take to install something like this with one of your engineers?
So if you look at something like this with a twin agent system, we would look anything between 2 days, maybe 2.5 days, depending on different placings. Because don't forget, with these machines, they might not just be standard.
No.
There might be different components on, there might be auto lube systems, there might be different cab options, there might be different intercoolers, cab heaters, anything like this. That's why when we do a system install, we are always last on the job.
Yep.
And the reason for that is because we're not going to impede any routine maintenance, and we're not going to disturb anything that would impede the operation, the driver's daily checks, or anything else on that machine.
Fantastic. So we've got some more important elements to see. So let's pop around the other side, because we might have this system here protecting it, but it's all about control. And when control matters, you need a control system. Come on. So we've seen how the fire suppression works in the engine compartment there, but we've come around the other side of the machine for a big reason as well, haven't we? Because there's more to the system. Tell me what it's all about.
Yeah, well, these are the additional options that we fit in any machine. We've got a battery isolator, and we've also got the machine shutdown. These are very, very important parts of the system. So the worst case scenario is the machine catches fire.
Yep.
The pneumatic detection tube burns through.
Yep.
The valves are open, the agent's released.
Yep.
But if that machine has a hydraulic leak or a fuel leak that's running, it can continue to run, continue to spray diesel and oil everywhere. You've got massive potential for reignition.
Okay.
So the pneumatic detection tube bursts, it's linked to the battery isolator, opens up, completely isolates the battery. The machine shutdown, linked again, completely isolates the machine. So once that system is activated, the machine is completely dead. That way there's no chance of continued oil leaks, continued fuel leaks. Again, like I said, with a total hazard protection, the most important thing is to put that fire out and stop and keep it out.
And remember, that gives the opportunity for the operator, if they're inside the cab, which is most important, to get out safely, knowing that they've got time to which to do that. So talking about the cab, isn't it about time we went inside?
Yep.
So we're now in the cab, and this is the most important part of any fire suppression system, the operator in the seat here. So down by the side of you, you've got something there inside the cab as well, haven't you?
Yeah, this is what's called the in-cab monitor. And what it's got is a series of lights, tells you the system's in pressure. It's also got an additional manual actuating button.
Another system that we've got here when we've talked about how we're isolating is the manual button. Now, folks, there's a pin in there, but once I take the pin out, I'd smack that and the system will go off. That is really important, because this is about people that might be smelling or seeing a tiny bit of smoke that want to make sure that nothing actually turns into a proper fire. We've got that opportunity, haven't we, here? Yeah,
that's correct, Peter. So this manual actuator, like you said, you pull the pin, and when you press the button, it basically pierces a diaphragm at the back, which is connected to the pneumatic detection. And like you said, if you're by this machine, you see something smouldering, before it's got chance to become a fire, you can press that, activate the system, and it works exactly the same as it would if the pneumatic detection tube was burning through.
Fantastic. So there is another part of the system.
So even if you're in the cab, and again, like the manual actuator, you can see something smouldering, you see a bit of smoke, before it's caught fire, you pull the sticker off, break a plastic seal off, and press the button. And that again manually actuates the system.
Fantastic. And I think the one thing that I really struck when I looked inside this cab was actually the manual that was sitting there as soon as you get into the cab. Really important actually for me that you have something like this inside the cab. Yes, you can go online and see different things, folks, but I'm walking on, I can see this Fireward system's been put onto my machine. I might not know anything about it, but then simply look inside this, understand how to use it, and that is critical. Training, critical, but we also know that different people in different shifts, they might be covering holiday times, come onto a machine that might not be familiar, but to have a booklet there and to have all of that information also online, that's important.
Yeah, it's like you say, it's all well and good having a system installed on your machine, but if you don't know how that system works, it's difficult. And that booklet there gives you your daily checks on what every component does on our system.
And so just like you'd check the oil, folks, checking the system actually is, in some cases, a lifesaver. And that's why we put fire suppression at the front of our industry. That's why I'm here today, and I've been following the journey to see how the UK is a leader in making, but also installing the systems here. So it's been great to follow that journey. Thanks very much for your time today. Better get into the cab and let somebody get this brand new machine safely on site where they know they've got a little help in the back to make sure that if there is a fire or if they feel unsafe and they can smell some smoke, that they can get off this machine safely and home safely. And that is what our industry should always focus on. Cheers.
Thank you.